The rule says, if you invest enough money you buy security. Russia believed this rule absolutely. Its airbases bristled with radar arrays. Its ports were wrapped in missile batteries. Its patrol craft scanned the sea. Its electronic warfare promised to turn the spectrum into noise. Cheap weapons could be annoying. They could not be decisive. But before dawn, in a narrow window measured in seconds, that rule collapsed. The strike did not begin with a weapon. It began with a calendar. By late 2023, pressure along the Black Sea coast had intensified. Russian naval assets supported special operations. Helicopters staged from coastal bases, ferrying teams, scouting routes, and threatening Ukrainian positions. Every morning that those aircraft lifted, the risk multiplied. Ukraine did not have the luxury of matching platforms. It had to match thinking. A small team studied habits, patrol timings, radar sweeps, shift changes, sunrise angles. They cataloged what defenses were built to stop, and what they ignored. They tested motors for noise. They logged battery curves in cold air. They rehearsed timing down to the second. The plan was not to overpower defenses. It was to walk through their blind spots. 2 targets mattered. A naval capability that enabled underwater special operations. And helicopters that could rapidly regenerate pressure if anything went wrong. Both had to be struck together. Miss one and alarms cascade. The margin for error was measured in heartbeats. The strike does not begin with explosions. It begins with silence. The kind of silence that only exists before dawn, when machines are awake but people are not yet afraid. At 6:24 local time, the Black Sea looks empty. Flat water. No waves worth measuring. No ships visible to the naked eye. The kind of calm that convinces you nothing is about to happen. That calm is a lie. 35 knots above the surface, 3 unmanned surface vessels slice forward, their hulls barely disturbing the water. They ride low, narrow, and fast, too small to look dangerous, too steady to look suspicious. Each carries 4 aerial drones, locked into waterproof rails like arrows waiting for a bowstring to snap. Inside Russian monitoring rooms, nothing triggers. No alarms. No warnings. No urgency. The sensors see clutter. The operators see routine. And that is the first failure. Because the attack is not designed to be detected. It is designed to be dismissed. The first contact. The Russian Raptor patrol boat is on a standard sweep. Fast. Armored. Built for interception. Its crew is alert but relaxed. The posture of men who expect to chase smugglers, not fight a war. The thermal scope sweeps left, then right, painting the water in gradients of gray and white. Then the gunner stiffens. 3 heat signatures. Full. Fast. Aligned. Not waves. Not debris. Targets. He does not hesitate. The 14.5 mm KPV machine gun opens fire, its recoil hammering through the hull. Tracer rounds punch glowing scars across the dark water, walking toward the approaching signatures. This is where the strike should die. This is where cheap systems are supposed to fail. The Raptor accelerates, 48 knots, engine screaming. Distance collapses. The patrol boat is faster, heavier, armed. The USVs cannot outrun it. So they do something else. They split. One veers sharply toward shallow coastal waters near Cape Chersonese. The others fan left and center, forcing the Raptor to choose which threat matters most. The Raptor follows instinct, cut off the lead. Then the depth alarm screams. 2.5 meters. 2.0 meters. 1.8 meters. The captain knows this water. 1 meter more and volcanic rock tears open the hull. He slams the throttles into reverse. And in that fraction of a second, when momentum is lost, when doctrine hesitates, geometry takes over. At exactly 1,800 meters, the USVs execute their final task. Launch. Launch rails snap vertical. 12 drones ignite simultaneously. The sound is sharp and violent, electric motors spooling instantly to full thrust. The drones leap upward at 50 meters per second, punching into the sky like startled birds. The Russian gunner tries to track them. He cannot. His mount stops at 60 degrees elevation. The drones are already climbing past 75. This is not speed defeating steel. It is angles defeating assumptions. $1 million patrol craft watches helplessly as 12 garage-built machines escape its envelope of fire. The Raptor is no longer a hunter. It is a spectator. The electromagnetic ambush. The drones stabilize at altitude. For 3 seconds, everything looks perfect. Then the world explodes into static. Russian electronic warfare comes online. A high-power jammer floods the spectrum, hundreds of kilowatts of raw electromagnetic noise. GPS signals collapse. Frequencies smear. Telemetry jumps. On the operator's screens the drones drift. Coordinates slide 15 kilometers off reality. If the drones follow those numbers they will fly straight into empty sea. This is the moment the strike should fail. This is where modern war usually ends for small systems. But the Ukrainians anticipated this. The switch happens instantly. Inertial navigation. No satellites. No signals. No external references. Just gyroscopes, accelerometers, and math. The drones stop listening to the world and start listening to themselves. They count motion. They remember turns. They trust internal truth over external lies. Like walking your house in the dark. The split. At 2,000 meters altitude, the formation reorganizes. 2 drones climb higher, becoming airborne relay nodes, silent messengers maintaining line-of-sight connectivity. 4 peel off toward Sevastopol harbor. 6 turn inland toward the airbase. From this moment on, the attack is no longer one operation. It is 2 synchronized races against time. Both must succeed. If one fails, alarms cascade. If one survives, assets regenerate. There is no partial victory. The harbor strike. The harbor drones descend first. They slow deliberately. 11 meters per second. Bicycle speed. This is not stealth by invisibility. It is stealth by implausibility. Russian radar systems lock on immediately. Then reject the targets. The algorithms expect missiles screaming at hundreds of meters per second. They expect aircraft. They expect threats worth calculating. These returns are too slow. Too small. Too stupid to be real. The system assumes birds. Debris. Noise. Fog rolls in from the sea, thickening visibility to under a kilometer. A sailor on watch spots movement and shouts, pointing upward. Optical tracking systems activate, essentially hyper-expensive cameras slave to targeting computers. They need 3 seconds of steady track to compute a firing solution. The drones jink every 2. Heavy machine guns open fire. Rounds the size of human thumbs tear upward, but the mounts elevate only to 60 degrees. The lead drone dives at 80. Reaction time betrays the gunners. At 200 kilometers per hour, the drone covers 14 meters in a quarter second. Faster than the brain can process, faster than fingers can respond. The gunners are shooting at afterimages. Impact. The first drone strikes the tugboat's bridge. A shaped charge detonates. A copper cone collapses into a molten jet traveling thousands of meters per second, hot enough to vaporize steel. It punches through glass, consoles, armor. The bridge fills with smoke and flame instantly. The second drone hits at the waterline. At 1 meter depth, water pressure forces tens of thousands of gallons per minute through the breach. Compartments flood. The vessel lists violently. Diving equipment slides across the deck. Then disappears into the harbor. Underwater propulsion vehicles. Demolition charges. Specialized chambers. Years of training and millions in equipment sink in under 30 seconds. The Russian PDSS capability, elite naval special forces, is erased before breakfast. And the harbor is only half the story. The airbase strike. The 6 inland drones fly low. 3 meters above the highway. They follow traffic using trucks as moving camouflage. Every passing vehicle erases their signatures in radar clutter. They thread power lines, signs, overpasses at 140 kilometers per hour. No one looks up. At the perimeter, a TORM-2 air defense system waits. It is designed to kill cruise missiles. It costs tens of millions. It scans in bands. High altitude. Medium altitude. Low altitude. Each sweep takes 4 seconds. It cannot see everything at once. The operators know this. The attackers know this too. At 6:21 and 14 seconds, the radar beam tilts upward to scan above 500 meters. The drones accelerate. 400 meters vanish beneath them in the blind spot. By the time the beam sweeps back down at 6:21 and 18 seconds, the drones are already inside the base perimeter. They flicker on the screen for half a second. Then disappear into radar shadows cast by hangars and fuel tanks. Urban geometry defeats military sensors. Last-ditch defenses. Guards shout. Soldiers sprint from the ready room with Igla-S launchers. These missiles can hunt jets. They are useless here. Electric motors barely generate heat. Solar glare saturates infrared seekers. Locks fail. One soldier fires in manual mode, blind. The missile streaks past at Mach 2. Its proximity fuse waits for something larger than a dinner plate. Nothing triggers. Inside the base, PKM machine guns open fire. Tracers chase erratic movement. 2 drones fall. 4 survive. Battery warnings flash red. 8%. 90 seconds. The drones split. 2 pop up, obvious, straight, tempting. Machine guns track them instinctively. The real attack comes from low and fast. Final impact. At 6:28, the first drone hits in Mi-24's cockpit canopy. The copper jet slices through armor and glass. Hydraulic fluid ignites. Ammunition cooks off. The second drone ruptures in Mi-8's auxiliary tank. Fuel spreads. Fire leaps. Within minutes, helicopters worth tens of millions are destroyed. Sirens wail. Shouting fills the base. But the window is gone. The drones are already falling silent. Aftermath in real time. Russian crews run toward fires that cannot be put out. Commanders demand reports that make no sense. Sensors show gaps where logic says none should exist. And somewhere far away, a small team watches clocks, not flames. They do not cheer. They log. Because the strike is over. And the rule is broken. If you find this kind of military detail, where timing and physics defeat money, as fascinating as we do, we'd be honored if you hit subscribe. These stories of ingenuity deserve to be remembered. The first reaction is disbelief. Crews replay footage. Operators rewind sensor logs. Engineers argue with algorithms. Commanders demand answers that don't fit tidy categories. How did slow get through fast? How did cold defeat heat? How did cheap defeat layered? The uncomfortable answer sits between lines of code and habits of thought. Defenses were optimized for threats worth stopping. They filtered out what looked like noise. Ukraine turned noise into signal. Thresholds are adjusted. Sensitivity increases. False alarms multiply. Bases harden, disperse, bury assets. Costs rise. Readiness falls. Every helicopter on the ground becomes a liability. Every sunrise becomes a question. Across the war, the lesson spreads. Cheap systems proliferate. Tactics adapt. The balance tilts toward those who study timing and geometry rather than procurement catalogs. The ripple is not just tactical. It is psychological. Crews learn that perfection is impossible. Sensors miss. Algorithms assume. Humans hesitate. The defender must be right every time. The attacker only once. What Russia didn't know was how quickly this would compound. Alexei moves on to the next problem. There are no parades. No public names. Just quiet messages from units that slept easier because helicopters didn't fly that morning. This story matters now because it redraws the map of power. It shows that discipline, timing, and understanding can outmaneuver wealth. If this story moved you, please hit the like button. Every click tells the algorithm this history is worth keeping. We're dedicated to rescuing overlooked stories as they unfold. If you want to join us, subscribe and turn on notifications. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country below, and tell us if someone in your family serves. Thank you for ensuring that the small teams who change the math of war do not disappear into silence. They deserve to be remembered.